Welcome back to the Ops Roundtable. I'm Vanessa Collins, joined by Ted Ings, and we are coming to you live from Northwood University. We are about to learn some exciting insights from Jake Aschendorf from Epicor.
Jake, welcome back to the Ops Roundtable, and it's great to be with you here in beautiful Midland, Michigan.
It is. Thank you, Ted, for having me. Vanessa, great seeing you as always.
So, Jake, for our audience, we want to learn a little bit more about Epicor and what you're doing. Data is constantly being accumulated throughout the automotive industry, especially on the dealer side, and dealers are concerned about that as well. Tell us a little about Epicor's data network.
So, Ted, the data network started back in 1982, where we went on a mission to take those reams of books that if you ever went into a parts store, you saw them just lined up behind the counter, right? So we started with the data network of creating a digital catalog back in 1982, but it didn't stop with just digitizing the catalog, right? It's one thing to digitize the information and put it into a format that's accessible for everybody to use, but then how do you get to that data? How do you get to the network? So back in 1982, we started to build that network, connecting buyers and sellers together to streamline the process of purchasing aftermarket parts throughout the entire industry.
That's got to be a huge, huge responsibility. What all goes into that?
Well, Ted, as you can imagine, first and foremost, we feel that we are the data stewards of the industry. So we protect the data. We make sure the data at the beginning is protected no matter what happens. So we have to accumulate the data rights, which is very important to use it. One big key is that we're not connecting any PII information. We don't care about if it's Ted's vehicle or Vanessa's vehicle or anybody else's vehicle. We are simply looking at the parts movement on a repair order. So when you think about where do we collect this data, we get data collected from the OEM, the manufacturer, right, to the distributor level, to the service installer base. We have the full broad spectrum of the entire industry, but it doesn't stop there. As you can imagine, there's a couple hundred DMS systems in the franchise dealer space. There's over 200 in the aftermarket space. So just collecting the data isn't enough. So we protect it first and foremost, but more importantly, then we have to clean and organize the data. I like to use the little story about Legos. When you get a Lego set and it's that Star Wars Death Star, right? You're so excited, you rip open the box, and what do you have? You have a bag full of just Legos, different colors, different sizes, and you don't know what to do with them, right? You have to have the instructions. So we have to clean the data first. So to me, that's taking the Legos and now separating them into colors, right? And then next you have to take all that data and you have to put it together, and that is organizing or arranging that data. Well, that's great, but what do you do with organized or arranged data? It doesn't really mean anything to anybody, right? So next you have to build that Death Star, which is visually creating the end results of that data, which tells the story. But guess what? As a kid, did you ever leave that Death Star put together? Probably not, right? So what you do then is, after you have it, is make useful tools of the data. And that's what Epicor really strives to do, is we take the data, but we're constantly looking at how do we use the data to help the aftermarket and the franchise dealers use it in ways that they never thought they had to use it before.
Fine. Now, what are the benefits that Epicor provides for the automotive market?
So we provide, in just the data category, a streamlined method to purchase aftermarket parts. So keep in mind, this handles the entire automotive industry, whether you're a collision, whether you're a franchise dealer, or you're in the aftermarket. But more importantly, what if you're a DIY or you're a do-it-yourselfer? Well, our data is replicated and used in online searches and platforms such as Amazon, eBay, Google. So you're using our data, you're using our connectivity in our highway. So we make it easy, whether you're at a franchise dealer, to buy that part quicker, faster, and easier than picking up the phone and calling your local Advance, O'Reilly's, Napa store, or your local distributor. We're helping the aftermarket, whether you're a single bay shop turning wrenches and you're the owner, you're the mechanic, you're the accountant. But if you're a do-ier, we're providing all that information for you in an online platform, so where you can quickly and easily look at the part, make sure you have the right part at the right time, at the right price.
Jake, a lot of the dealers watching today are smaller dealers. So let's talk a little bit about scalability. What about a small dealer versus a larger dealer?
So Ted, it really doesn't matter the size, right? At the end of the day, service has one thing to sell, right? Everybody thinks that they sell parts or they sell that service. Well, as you know, and the fixed ops community knows, we sell time. So time is important whether you're a small person, again, a single point garage, 1 or 2 bays, or you're a multi-million-dollar publicly traded company, you sell time in the fixed ops department. So the faster you can get the part, the faster you can turn that car, the faster you make that customer happy, the more cars you can get in. It is about speed of the game, because we all know this. If there's not a simple, easy way for us to do anything, it's going to take more time, it's going to cause more problems, and you're going to have more mistakes.
Yeah, and in our business, I heard it's all about the hours.
It is all about the hours, and with an aging vehicle population now over 12 years, it just means there's going to be more service work for the franchise dealers and the aftermarket. The aftermarket has 240,000 repair shops. We have 17,000 plus franchise dealers. There's enough work for everybody in there. It's a matter of who's going to take it and who's going to cater to the needs of those 12-year-old vehicles for our customer base.
Now, Jake, how is Epicor leveraging emerging technologies like AI and machine learning?
Great question, Vanessa. So, the old way we started doing it in 1982 was honestly about 80 to 100 people literally looking at the catalog, those books, and manually typing all that information in. We have progressed immensely in those years, right? So we are using machine learning, we are using big data tables, we are using AI to automate some of those tasks. But guess what? The automotive industry is very unique. One word is not the same in the automotive industry for the same part that it is everywhere else. So although we're using the emerging technologies of AI to help automate some of those manual tasks and those repeatable tasks, especially when it comes to net adds and changes, which means when that manufacturer sends us a new data table in aces and pies, which is the industry standard for the information, we are now moving to net adds. So machine learning has learned over the last 50 years what this part means. So we know that it's an oil filter. We know it's a brake. So the machine has learned, and we've taught it through the data language tables, to know that it's that oil filter or brake or whatever it is. And so it's automating those tasks so that a manual intervention doesn't have to sit in there and manually type all that information out. We've taken it one step further. So we have moved from, as I told you, the data story about how to use the information, right? So it's great that we have all these catalog lookups and we know the part was sold, but now let's talk about predictive inventory and how do you stock your inventory. So parts is an open checkbook, as we know. So if I can help you maximize by knowing what vehicles are in your market, so you know, hey, I need this part for these specific units, meaning these parts fail more readily on a 1995, Chevy Silverado truck. So stock these parts compared to stocking another part because I'm going to be able to sell this part faster and make more money on it.
And Jake, this is not something that's coming. This is here now.
We have predictive inventory assistance and maintenance already out in the market being used by the independent aftermarket channel as we speak and all the distributors within the marketplace.
And finally, Jake, Vanessa mentioned that we're at Northwood University today. Epicor is very involved with Northwood, and I want to thank you for all that I've seen about Epicor here at the university and all that you're doing, and maybe tell us a little bit more about that commitment as well.
Yeah, thank you, Ted. So the commitment that Epicor made to the Northwood students like Vanessa and Katrina is we want to power the aftermarket. We know the next generation is out there. So since we are tied in so heavily all the way from the manufacturers, from supply chain logistics to marketing, all the way down to the independent service repair shops, we feel we're best suited to help those students out. So we have a lab. We donated scholarship money and put a lab in here at Northwood University to come in and teach real life practical skills while they're learning the Northwood University skills from a classroom textbook. So we're taking that technology that we have and putting it into the classroom to better help the students learn. Once they leave Northwood University, they're ready for the marketplace.
Wow, Jake, a lot going on at Epicor, a lot going on at Northwood. Again, on behalf of the Fixed Ops community, thank you for all that you do for our industry.
Thank you, Ted, for your commitment as well.
Everybody, stay with us. We're going to be right back. We're at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We're at Northwood University. A lot more to come.